Bonjour, I bet you're wondering where I've been. Just to catch you up, in case you are confused, my name's Lena and I am trying to reconcile my relationship with clothes and how much I love them and how much I love colour and fun, and also my other great love, which is living on a livable planet. Those two things are sometimes hard to reconcile, but I am attempting to do that on this channel and I'm documenting it for you here. Now, last year and this year, I'm doing this challenge that I'm calling my year of make do, which is about reducing, or in last year's case, completely eliminating my consumption of clothes, even secondhand clothes, even knickers. And this year I've allowed myself a few exceptions of things that I can buy, but in general, the emphasis is on re-wearing the stuff that I already have or making my own clothes. So this is my little update section of my channel where I tell you how I've been getting on. And in this video, we're going to cover February and March's setbacks and wins. And I'm going to tell you about the 5 categories of things that I usually catch you up on. So the first thing is made. What have I made? I've got some good news. I've finally made a garment. It's I don't even know what the date is. What's the date? It's the 26th of March currently, and I finally finished my first garment of the year. Not my first garment that I've cut out. I've cut out a lot of garments, but I haven't actually sewn them together. So this is my first one, and I finished it this morning. I sat there and I sewed in my little name tag, and it was so satisfying. So this is the Daphne dress. It is a pattern that I have sewn before. I actually documented the first time that I sewed it on this channel because I was trying to make a dress to wear to a Jane Austen ball I was going to. And because I wasn't allowed to buy clothes, and because you have to wear a Jane Austen dress to a cosplay Jane Austen period accurate ball, that was my challenge and I accepted it willingly. I'm so glad to say that this is the 4th time I've made this pattern and I think I've finally nailed it. This is again, like, I think one of the things we dismiss when we think about the labour that goes into clothes is that it really takes a lot of trial and error to get good at a pattern, even if you're not the one who's designed it, even if somebody else has already spent all the time designing and making it. As a maker, you still have to get used to all of the instructions and how things work. So I finally think I've cracked this one. My main issue was with the gathering in the back. There's like an elastic system that's not shearing, it's like an elastic system in the back, and I was having some trouble perfecting that, but I've finally done it. 4th time's a charm, and it fits perfectly and I'm really happy with it, and I'm loath to think about taking it off, to be honest. I want to live in it forever. I also really improved the size of the pockets. Like, wow, the pocket bags are huge. I kind of drew round the stencil that was originally in the pattern and basically just drew it bigger and guessed, and it's brilliant. So I'm very happy with it. This is also 100% linen, so very sustainable fabric from Merchant and Mills, and I think it's called the Wham pattern, which I just love. Like, I love the vision of it just being inspired by Wham bars. I just think this is one of the most me garments I've ever made, and I can't wait to wear it literally everywhere. I also, for this one, I added an extra ruffle to the bottom of the dress, which you can hopefully see in these clips, which again, I think make it less of a period piece and a little bit more modern. So I'm very excited. And I also used, for the lining, if you're interested, the lining is none other than Daniel J. Layton's secondhand curtains. And then for this part of the sleeve, which you need a little bit of facing for here, I didn't want it to be white because I didn't want it to get grubby. So I cut out parts of an old tote bag and I used that as my little facing, which I was very excited about as well, to be able to reuse some fabric. If you're interested in why tote bags are something that you should cherish and reuse if you're not going to use them anymore, there's a link to a video about that up here, but feeling passionate about that. However, what's next? I haven't made anything else, but I would like it to be noted that I have cut out the pattern pieces in this very fetching red linen for some trousers, which are called the Chandler trousers, I believe. I'm really lacking in trousers at the moment. It's something that my body is grieving, and I think as summer starts to rear its head, my little chafing thighs are really going to need them. So I'm really excited to try this trouser pattern that seems quite adjustable as well. And this is a unused but secondhand linen tablecloth that I got off Vinted. So I'm very excited to see how that goes. But they're really the two. That's as close as we're getting to something being finished at the moment. Okay, right. Second category is what did I buy? Actually, I can attach this to my dress, can't I? So I've got some extra hands. I bought one piece of equipment, if you will, so one bit of fabric. No, that's a lie. I bought 2 bits of fabric I did a little trip to Aberystwyth, which is where I used to go to university in Wales, and I went to go and do a book event there, and it was very fun. And of course, across the road from the wonderful bookshop by the sea in Aberystwyth is the haberdashery, wittily called the Haberdashery, which I'd just like us all to take a moment to think about how great that name is for an Aberystwyth haberdashery. And I wasn't planning on buying any fabric, but here's the thing. I love to support a local business. I love to feed the Welsh economy. And I also love a sale on Liberty fabric. So this is the fabric that I got. I got 3 meters of it for a steal. It's 100% cotton, and I do not think this is the most delightful fabric in the whole freaking world. I could not pass it up. And I also think it's going to be a lovely memory of my absolutely idyllic trip to Aberystwyth this year. And then I also got 1/2 meter. I controlled myself. I got 1/2 meter of this complementary fabric. So I'm wondering if I can do a little frill at the bottom of a dress, or maybe I could do a 1/2 and 1/2 top with both of the contrasting patterns, or use this to make pocket bags so that the inside of the dress has that. It's either going to be something where I'm just going to see it and it's going to make me really happy, and it can be just the lining of something, or it's going to be like a feature of the design. But either way, I think I made a great decision. Well done, me. I also sold, and this is not part of my bingo card or my goals or anything, but I just want to know how impressed I am with myself. At the time of recording, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 36, counted them myself, items of clothing on Vinted in the last 2 months, which I think is really incredible for me. I think that's a really big result. And I definitely gave a few things to charity as well, things that I'd received as gifts, like gifting, so I wouldn't sell them. So I think that's actually really commendable. And I also Craig really helped me rearrange my wardrobe so that I could actually see all the clothes that I had as well. So I am almost tempted to give myself a few extra tokens of clothes that I can get this year, because that's a phenomenal result. Can you tell I was gentle parented? I'm I deserve a sweetie for that. But I just wanted to note that. It's just not something I've bought, but I have been selling stuff. And anyway, I've got a few more things to sell on Vinted. So if you want to follow me on Vinted, you'd be very welcome. You can nab some absolute bargains, because I just want them to be used and getting them back into the ecosystem. Tempted. What have I been tempted by this last 2 months is the next section. Kind of everything. It's been a very tempting month. I think because I was on Vinted a lot selling stuff, Vinted was suggesting loads of stuff that I like, and brands that I like, lots of Nobody's Child stuff and Under the Story stuff that I was oh. So yeah, it was a bit of a tempting month. And another thing I've been really tempted by is, you might remember in my last update, I bought this top, which fits me like a freaking glove, and I love the colours and the cut, and it's the perfect kind of in-between composition of it's kind of a jumper, but it's also kind of a top, and that's very useful to me in loads of different situations. I love a warmer top that I can take with me out when I'm not sure what the temperature is going to be, but it also doesn't take up loads of room in your bag. I'm just using and loving it so much, and I know that Zara made this in 2 or 3 or 4 other colours, and I was really wow, I would get a lot of use out of some other tops just like this one. So that's a tempting second-hand thing for me that, we might give into at some point, but we're thinking about it. But yeah, maybe just a testament to how good this purchase was and how glad I am that I did it. Bingo card. Wow, I actually ticked 2 things off my bingo card this month. The first thing was mending something for a friend. And this one was great because I was actually watching my friend Melanie's vlog. Well, this is incredibly meta. She talked about stuff that she'd learned from my book, Half-Assed Human, where I wrote a chapter on half-assed style. And she was going through her wardrobe and she was talking about a cardigan that she had that she really didn't want to get rid of, but knew that the reason she wasn't wearing it is because she didn't like the buttons on it, but she'd never replaced buttons on a cardigan before. So she felt very conflicted about whether to keep it or not, or whether to give it away. So I messaged her being like, hey, I'm seeing you next month. What if you brought the cardigan with you and you told me what the button sizes were and I replaced those buttons for you and showed you how to do it while we're together? And she was just like, yes, please. So while I was in Aberystwyth, I took the very detailed instructions from Melanie, which is that the buttons were a little bit bigger than a thumbnail, like not a thumbnail, like a thumbnail, and bought 2 options of buttons for her that she could pick between. And when we just sat in Oaxaca, I switched the buttons out for her. It probably took me about 15 minutes to do, and showed her what I was doing as I did it, and sent her back to Ireland with a brand new cardigan, essentially. So that felt very smug. And I've also got a few other friends in the pipeline that I'd be happy to mend stuff for as well. So tick, definitely. The other thing is I did actually try an in-person class. I went to a sewing school, like / shop thing in the Midlands, and they had like drop-in sessions where instead of there being like a thing that you're all learning together, you can drop in and bring your project and they will help you with any questions you have with them. And it's just like kind of time to sew alongside other people. Now, I brought along this dress that I showed you last time that I've been really struggling to make, which is a Liberty pattern, and I was just doing everything wrong with it. Don't know what was going on, but it was just wrong in every way. Turns out it was so wrong that it was wrong in 5 different ways. And no wonder I couldn't work it out for myself. Let me see if I can remember all the things that the lady told me I had done wrong. Which I felt kind of scolded for, to be honest, but I think maybe it's because I said that I taught myself on the internet, and I think obviously she's a professional sewing teacher, and I imagine that's annoying when people just come and they've like learned the wrong way on the internet. But I'm also just like, accessibility, at least people are doing it, whatever. Anyway, so the first thing I did wrong is that this is not a fabric that the pattern advises. This fabric is a corduroy, and even though it's a thin corduroy, so I thought I'd get away with it, she was just kind of like, no, if the pattern says don't use that fabric, don't use that fabric. And I was like, fair. I also used too thick of a fabric for the lining as well, so the whole thing is just too thick, which I'm excited about because I want it to be a warm winter dress, but I guess I should have used a warm winter pattern if I wanted a warm winter dress. The second thing is, soberingly, I don't know the size of my boobs. I picked the wrong size for the boobs, so that's why the whole thing was kind of lifting up a bit, because my boobs are taking up more room than they should have been. Stupid boobs. What else had I done wrong? Oh yeah, I'd gathered the sleeves wrong. This is something I did learn about how to read a pattern, and I'd misread what part of the sleeve I was supposed to be gathering. So I unpicked the sleeve with her and gathered and sewed it, and that improved it a lot. Oh yeah, the other thing was, she was like, oh, what do you do for work? And I pulled out my classic lie that's not a lie, which is like, oh, I'm a video editor. And she was just like, and then she told me that a lot of people have been coming to her over the past few years, especially since COVID, needing back adjustments on their garments because more people are becoming hunched. So she was essentially telling me like, you're hunched, that's why this doesn't fit you around the neck. Well, she said it in a very polite way, but I was like, sobering. So that's another thing that I didn't know was a thing, that you might have to make back adjustments if you're doing something that's very fitted around your neck and you have rubbish posture. So good to know again. With all of that, and I think there was something else that was wrong, but I couldn't really take any more hits to my ego at that point, so I don't think I absorbed the last thing. Anyway, I think that this was a learning curve. At the moment, it looks like this, by the way. It's only got one sleeve on it. An amazing learning curve, #grateful. But with all of that in mind, even though I've put the clasp on and I've put my little label in to try and motivate myself, knowing all of that and knowing that I've accidentally sniffed the fabric in places and there's already holes on the inside of it. Knowing all that, I think that I am going to lovingly abandon this project, because I think it might be more like better for me and the planet if I don't keep using more, throwing, what's it, good money at bad money. Like if I keep using more fabric to try and fix this monstrosity, which I already fucked up loads of times. I told you last time, like I sewed it with the wrong direction nap for the corduroy. I did loads of crazy things wrong. So I've learned loads from trying to make this dress, but I think the fact that it's definitely in the wrong size and it's definitely in the wrong fabric really seals the deal for me. And I think that I'm going to abandon it and then use all the extra fabric that I have left to make a more appropriate garment for the kind of thing that it is, or maybe even like a big, nice, like corduroy tote bag. I think that would be really nice. It is a lovely colour and I've learnt a lot, but another one of my resolutions for this year was that I wasn't going to make any garments that weren't size adjustable. And I'd already cut this pattern out because I cut this out in like November or something last year and never got around to actually sewing it. So this was made before that revolution. It is a revolution. That revelation? No, it's not a revelation. Resolution. Interesting that all those words are so similar. It was before I became very determined to do that. So I also don't feel passionate about that, because not only is it the wrong size, it will continue to be the wrong size as my body fluctuates either way, because it's a bit of a static fitted garment and I don't want that in my life anymore. So with your blessing, I hope you don't mind, I'm going to abandon this project, unpick it and use the fabric for something as well. And if you have any ideas of patterns that are suitable for light corduroy fabric and you think would look good in that colour, hit me up, let me know, because I am excited to let you know in another update one day what I've made with that fabric instead of that accursed dress. And I would also like to state for the record, as I would say either a confident beginner or aspiring intermediate sewer, the Liberty patterns are quite shit when it comes to instructions, like really bad. I've used loads of indie pattern instructions, like the person who made this dress and like loads of other ones, and I found them really helpful and clear and concise and thorough. And the Liberty pattern instructions, for me, left something to be desired. Oh, that reminds me, that's the other thing that she said that I'd done wrong with that pattern, that I'd used an intermediate pattern and I am not an intermediate sewer. Valid. But I wanted to aspire. It's good to try things. Anyway, so that's just a warning. Maybe love Liberty fabric, not sold on the Liberty pattern thing. Stick to some of the indie designers, they're much better. Anyway, what are my plans for my next couple of months of sewing? Let me tell you. So if that pair of trousers works out, I would love to make it in some other fabrics as well, because I really need trousers. That's something that is lacking in my wardrobe, and I fear as summer approaches I will need them. So pray for me, because I really hope this pattern works out and I like it and I make my first crotch and it's all great, because I'd like to make more trousers. I am making the bunting for my friend Ariel's wedding. So that is a big, it's not really clothes that I can wear, but that is going to take up some of my allocated sewing time in the next few months. I've got until the summer to do it, but I want to start now because I don't know how long it's going to take me and we've got to fill the venue. So I'm going to be making bunting, and then also I'm going to be finishing some cardigans that I'm making for other people. I promised that I'd make a bespoke cardigan or jumper for every single one of my beta readers who beta read Half-Arsed Human before it went to print. So I'm working on that as well. So hopefully when I finish some more of those, you'll be able to see them and that'll be nice. Anyway, how are you? If you're taking part in the Year of Make Do, how are you getting on? Are you making clothes? Are you re-wearing clothes? What are you doing? And if you're unfamiliar with the Year of Make Do project, I will link a video up here and in the description explaining what's going on with that. And also I would like to hear in the comments your transitional clothes. What are you wearing at this time of year? Because I don't know what the weather's doing. I don't know what I'm doing. It's very confusing. I would like to hear what your go-to outfits are. Thank you so much to the Gumption Club who tip me per video to make sure these videos keep happening. And if you are into like reducing your fashion consumption, wanting to learn how to rewear stuff more, or maybe even teaching yourself to sew, we have the most amazing Patreon Discord of the Gumption Club, where we come together with one goal and very different abilities and budgets and approaches. and we chat about the clothes that we're wearing and share our outfits. And also it's my go-to place to ask questions about where to find sustainable clothing brands and also like how to make my own clothes. It's just the most amazing hive mind. So I'm very grateful to them. So if you're looking to join an incredibly wholesome internet community, I would highly recommend the Gumption Club. And I'll leave the links to that below. It obviously also supports this channel and makes these videos possible, so I don't have to have a sponsor and I can tell you exactly what I think of things like Liberty patterns, pretty shit. Beautiful, but shit. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to go and spin in my new dress now. Frog snog out.